Well, hello guys, this is the Betamax Man, and here we have another beautiful beta VCR made by Sanyo. So I do believe this is a VTC 7500. Now this is actually one of Sanyo's more higher end decks. Unlike the 7200, which is a 2-head, this is actually a 3-head unit, and it does have good pause. I don't understand why they didn't put frame by frame on this, being a high-end unit, but Sanyo's high-end units are basically like Sony's midline units, and I mean, basically with this model you do have good pause because it is a 3-head, and you do have auto dub, which is nice. That is a feature that kind of went away, and so it is kind of nice to see that feature on a beta. There were a few beta machines that had that feature, but not very many of them. At least, not for the Sanyo models. But, anyway, and we've got your microphone in and out on the front here, which is definitely something that most Sanyos didn't have. And this is why it was one of the more higher end decks. Even though this was considered a high-end deck from Sanyo, if Sony would have made this, it would have been like a mid-range deck. You know, it looks like it's got multiple connections here. 3 different connections for a microphone or headphones. It's probably got a microphone input and then a headphone out. That's exactly what it has. So there's the headphone out, and you've got your microphone in, and you can do, well, it looks like it's got left side or the right side or both. Of course, you're not going to be able to use both at the same time, so don't know why they did that. But this one is a really nice machine. I'm not happy about the burn mark right there, but looks like somebody had a soldering iron and they touched it and it burnt a hole in it. But this has got a bunch of features. It does have a record level on it, so you can set the level of audio that's coming in. Most people will put it in the center, because if you go higher than say number 6 or 7, if you go higher than that, usually you'll get distortion in your audio. So I usually, if I'm going to record with this, I will put it in the center. This machine's mainly going to be used for playback, so it doesn't really, I don't really care. But we got a main or auto for record level. So manual, this thing will stay right in the center no matter what you do with this. It won't do anything. But when you put it on auto, then this will actually adjust the volume control of the audio coming into the machine. And of course you've got your tape speed, which you only get 2 and 3 with Sanyos. You never were able to record in Beta 1 with the Sanyo. It was always 2 and 3. Because the other manufacturers felt that Beta 1 was not something that anybody would use, considering the fact that it only had a 1-hour record time. Hour and 45 minutes if you've got an L730, or L830 I mean. L730 you'll get 5 hour, or get an hour and a half. Beta 1 will give you an hour and L500, L750 give you an hour and a half. L830 you'll have an hour and 45 minutes in the beta 1 speed. So, but not very many people use the L830s because the L830s are so thin that they actually do wear out prematurely because they're so thin. You've got, I'm going to put this on beta HiFi. We've got beta HiFi, and I'm going to put it on left and right. It's got 3 settings, or 2 settings. Yeah, 3 settings. And beta HiFi, video and audio. Switch that to that. We'll go to the FM. We'll go to beta 2. If I ever do make recordings on this, it will be in beta 2, not beta 3. Unless I want to make a record test tape. So, anyway, there's that. I'm going to figure out a way to get that door to stay up like that, because it looks terrible with it being like that. Maybe there's something I can do about that. See if I can fix that. But you've got a nice beta HiFi light that lights up, and the power light. You've got a VCR TV light. Now this is not a digital tuner. It is a mechanical tuner. However, it gives you a digital display of the number, the channel number. So this only gives you a display. It does look like a digital tuner, but it's not. You're still pretty much on the presets that were set on this thing. So you're stuck with the, what, 12 presets, which is stupid. They should have put a full digital tuner in this. With it being a high-end deck, they should have put a digital tuner in it. And it's too bad that the sticker's damaged up here at the top, but as you can see, beta HiFi sound, 80 decibels, dynamic range. Should we go ahead and attempt to put a cassette in without taking it apart? Let's do it. Let's see what happens, huh? Somebody might have put new belts in this. Nope. Nope, they didn't put new belts. This just happens to be the belts. Yeah. Well, it didn't play, but it did thread the tape back in, which I'm surprised. Well, it might have, yep, no, shuts off. Well, if I hit stop, it will actually. So the belts are halfway working. Belts are halfway working, but the idler tire is completely shot. I'm very surprised that it didn't eat the tape. But it did play for about a second, and that's about all it does. Somebody probably put belts in this thing because it just grabs it right away, and it doesn't seem to eat the tape. It's just got idler tire issues. Yeah. And this tape is recorded in HiFi too, so it should have picked up the HiFi sound. At least I think this is a HiFi stereo recording. But it does throw the tape, put the tape back in, so it might have had belts replaced. But I'm gonna replace the belts anyway. I'm gonna put new belts in because I don't trust old belts. Even if they're not very old, I still don't trust them. I'll still put new ones in. But yeah, with that staying up like that, it looks pretty damn good. But with it coming out like that, there's got to be something I could do about that. So let's get this thing opened up, and let's get this thing at least so that it'll function. Well, we got the top off. We're going to take off the panels, as I took the screws off, so we can get to those. For this piece here that goes on top, there's 2 screws on each side. There's a screw here, here, and back over here on this piece for the other shielding plate for the video heads. It doesn't look too dirty. I mean, yeah, it's dirty, but it's not like ridiculous amount of dirt like most of them that I see that come in. So the 2 tires that we're going to change are these 2 right here. So now it looks like this has been replaced at one time because it doesn't have the metal E-clip. It's actually got a little cut washer. It's got a small cut washer to hold it on. But originally they would have came with a E-clip, and the E-clips are better. The E-clips actually hold the piece in place a lot better than the, I mean, the cut washer works fine, and as long as you have the cut washer on there, it's never gonna fly off or nothing. But I just feel like the E-clip was a lot better system. But before I pull this off, I'm gonna, you know, be very, very careful not to fling it across the room. But we'll take that off. We'll get to these tires. But if we want to see what's going on with it, and we want to see just exactly what it's doing, we could put in another cassette, because that one's holding up the thing there. So we'll just, let's get a tape in, and I'll show you. We'll see what's going on inside, and I'll show you what it's doing and why is it stopping. Well, I'm gonna show you, because these tires are worn out. So these tires, they dry rot, they crack, they don't have any let's see if there's a belt on here. Yeah, the belt's on here. So the belts, they go bad too, but these belts feel like they might have been changed. So they might have been, belts might have been changed at some point. Well, it seems to be working. That's weird, because it wasn't working when we first tried it. But it's not locking in. It's got a beta 3 light, but it's not locking in. Oh yeah, it's because it's, I think this is on the beta 1 recording, and so it doesn't know what speed he is. It's trying to play it back in a different speed, but it's beta 1 recording on this section of the tape. So maybe the tape was bad or something. Let's just put this back in. Okay, it's gonna hold it up for now anyway. This is my test tape of this is a copy of Scarface. Does look like it works. And the HiFi audio light is on. And we do see the view meters. So it wasn't working at first, but it appears to be working. So I've got it hooked up to the monitor. Let's see if we can get this thing to come on here. Oh, we got a... Oh, that's not very good, is it? Well, we got a picture, but not a very good one. So maybe this machine does have a problem. Maybe it's, I wonder, could have a problem in the head amp too, or the preamp. Looks like it might be a preamp problem, but a lot of times these caps, they go bad. So let's try the tracking, because sometimes it's the tracking. So let's just try adjusting it. That's all it was, guys. It was just tracking. Still not tracking very good. Still not a very good picture though. But yeah, you touch it and we get no video. It does have a problem. Definitely got a dry joint in the so it doesn't have a mechanical problem, it's got an electrical problem. It's got problems with the electronics. So, but now it works. We just touch it and then it goes out. So I've got my iron here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of fresh solder, and oops, I'm out of that roll. That roll of solder is gone. So it's just going to reflow. Some of the solder there. Alright, that'll definitely take care of the problem with the video. So, do want to check the cap here. Let's check some of the caps. Like I said, these caps have been known to fail on these. I mean, even though it may work, you might have one cap that's starting to go bad and can cause problems in the future. So let's just get there it is. Okay, well, they seem to be reading just fine, so I don't think I'll have to do much on that. Well, I found a bad one. I got the caps out. We're going to change them. It was a 0.33, and I don't have a 0.33, but I do have a 0.47. It's just a tad higher, but it should be okay. Shouldn't be any issues with it. Even though, yes, it can, it's a tad higher, but it's gonna be okay, so it'll be just fine, I think. So, shouldn't be any issues with that. Let's get this in here. there's that one. Pull this one out. This thing is playing beautifully now, and when you tap the screen, I'm just tapping the board here, and now our video is good. I've got the cassette basket out, and the reason why, so we can change this belt here on the side. Lift this straight up after you take the 3 screws out. Now, in order to take the cassette housing out, you have 2 big screws in the back on each side. You have to move the cassette basket forward like that so that you can get clearance access to the screws right there and over there. And then also there's a screw here and over here. There's 3 screws per side. The big ones go in the very back. This has got yeah, this belt's kind of loose. I mean, the belt's on the verge of needing replaced, so we're going to replace the belt on that as well. There's 3 belts. There's a belt for the cassette housing, a belt for threading the tape around the drum, and a belt for the idler. And if your idler belt is broken, you can see that this belt is loose. This belt is completely loose. So we're going to change it, but it's still functional. I think this was probably, the belts have been changed in this, and so have the idler tires at one point in time in its life. But we're going to put new ones in because we need to be able to make this machine reliable and make this machine last for a long time. My belt kit here. This is a belt kit I got off eBay. They were just an assortment of belts for VCRs, and I'm not sure what VCR it does, but they're probably for Panasonic or something. But they have belts in here that actually have the size that I need. So if we take our belts out of the kit here, there's 2 smaller belts that I'm interested in. There's 2 sizes here. This is the smallest one. This is the same size belt that the idler tire uses. I believe this is the size that we need. So this is the size that I'm going to use. So we're going to, I've got 2 screws out. This actually has 4 screws on the side, and I'm gonna finish. No, just the 3. Okay, it's just got the 3. That's what I was wondering. This is a spring that came loose here. There we go. The spring is back in place for the cassette housing. sometimes that spring will come loose and you'll have to put it back. But the spring, the larger spring, goes behind this metal piece here, and the smaller spring touches the door on this side here, on this area. So that comes off, let me know. I'll do a video on that if you guys have a problem putting the spring back on. If this comes off and you don't know how to do it and you need to know how to do it, I'll do a designated video on this, but just let me know. But we're focusing on replacing the belt, so I'm actually going to replace it by taking the last screw off. I'm actually holding this into place and getting... Alright, let's get the screw on. Alright, let's get the screw on. And what I'm going to do is simply just lift straight up. And what I am going to do is hold the gears in place so that the gears cannot move. And we'll put our pulley back on. Here's the old one, and it's misshapen, and the size that we need is this one, which so we're just going to double check, which you can see it's, I'll show you in a minute, but put this on. Crap. Just hold the, this pulley keeps wanting to jump off. These gears are not so much timing. The gears that you want to, they don't really have timing marks on them, but I just hold them in place just to make sure that we... There we go. There we go. So we got the new belt on. They do have basically a little slot that they ride on. Alright, now we're gonna put the screw back on. I'll show you the belt there. And we will load the tape manually, but there's a notch on the gear. That goes next to the other notch. I'll put one screw in, that'll hold it in place, and I'll put the other two, there's 3 screws. There is, I just make sure that I hold the gears in place while putting the belt on, because then I won't have to retime it. If you guys do mess up and you get it out of time, let me know. I'll make a designated video specifically for that, so that you guys know how to retime the cassette housing if you get it out of time. So it's pretty simple, but it can be a little challenging if you're not used to working on these machines. But there we go. And I'm just going to make sure that that the tape goes in and out okay by hand. But there we go, we got the new belt is in place, and it's nice and firm and stiff. And we're going to put our cassette in. I'm going to load it by hand because I want to make sure that it's going to load, and basically I'm just loading it by hand just to make sure that it goes in okay. And once this goes in, actually by turning this gear. There we go. I'm just going to turn this gear, and that'll just making sure that this thing will load and unload. So it's now fully dropped down into place. So now I can turn it the other way, and it's gonna come out. Just like that. And then you can push it in. I'm just turning the gear here. Okay, and now we'll be able to move it and reverse and the cassette will come back out. Just like that. And so it's in its home position, and the belt is definitely misshapen, kind of like an oval shaped, and it's kind of deformed, although it's not cracked. I don't see any cracks, but it's definitely worn out, and it's not completely worn out, but it's starting to get to that direction. So it is starting to head in that direction, but at least we've got a brand spanking new belt in there. And now that we got the cassette housing done, we'll tackle the rest of the machine. Now this one, like I said, this particular belt is for the idler, so we'll replace the idler, and we'll replace the other loading belts. So I actually need 2 of these sized belts. That's why I bought more than one package. Okay, take the cut washer off, and this will lift up. There are washers that you need to make sure you don't lose. There we go. And there's a washer there that we don't want to lose. And then here is the belt. Now we're gonna put a new one on, but oh yeah, look at that. That is in bad shape. It's bad. It needs changed. So I've got a new belt here, which should be the size. It's about the same size, so just make sure this works. Oh, that's not good. That's not the same size. Well, I'm gonna have to use the used one for right now, because the one that I thought would be the right size is not. So we'll put the original back on for now, and I'll have to order a new belt for the idler. But here are my brand new tires. They're fresh, nice, and that one's alright, but the top one is dried out and is bad. This is why you want to clean the pulley. Look at that. That came off the pulley. Everything is done. The front pieces, I gotta pull this belt off and replace it. I found this price tag of $19.99. That must have been why the seller wanted $20 starting bid. Probably just trying to get his money back. The last thing I'm going to do on this, clean the capstan. And in order to clean the capstan properly, you need to pull it out and clean it and then put it back in. So that's what I'm going to do. And as you can see, here's the motor. That we got a new belt on that, but you can see these other belts that were on it. They're oblong. They're all misshapen. They've actually sat for so long that they've took the shape of being around the motor pulleys. So, but these two are, they're not going to be thrown away because they're not cracked or dry rotted, but they are somewhat stretched. But you never know when you might need a belt for VCR that you may not have the right size. So if you've got belts like this that are not dry rotted or cracked, they might be a little stretched, but you could still use them for getting another VCR going. So I'm not going to throw them away. I'm kind of going to hold on to them, even though I've got brand new ones that I could use. I'm still going to hold on to those because it's harder and harder to get belts. And the reason why this door isn't staying on is because it is broken. It's got some broken plastic pieces, and I think somebody's been into this unit. You know, I think those belts were replaced, not who knows how long ago, but not too long ago. But let's get the capstan. We have to take the brace, get the screws off. And this is going to allow us to get access to the capstan and pull the capstan motor out, clean it, and then put it back in. And of course I use rubbing alcohol to clean it with. Put it back in. Of course, it's also a good idea to clean the switch. There's a switch here that gets activated. Another switch down there. But it's good to have them clean the switches. If you don't have contact cleaner, you can use alcohol. I went to get some contact cleaner the other day, and they didn't have any. So just simply pull straight up on the capstan, and it's somewhat stuck because you can see all that dirt. Look at all that dirt. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there's a lot of dirt on that capstan. So there's been tapes that have shed their oxide, and we're gonna give this a good cleaning with some alcohol, and then we'll put it back in place. We've got 3 Hall effect device, and on the Sonys they go out quite often, but not on the Sanyos. The Sanyos, well, and look at the way they mounted them. They're not, they don't have glue or nothing on them that can be conductive, can go conductive. So the Sanyos are very well built, very well made. Well, the capstan is nice and clean, but look at the dirt that came off the capstan. All that dirt came off of the capstan. That's why it's important to take the capstan completely out before you do your final repair. It's always a good idea to take the capstan out, clean it. Okay, she's all back together, and she's finished. She's been repaired, although there wasn't really much wrong with it. The only thing wrong with the thing was that our video signal would cut in and out, and that was due to bad solder joints on the video board. And now the belts were replaced. I couldn't replace the idler belt because the belt I had was not small enough. But I did have the other 2 loading belts, which was for the cassette housing and for threading the tape around the drum. And I did put brand new tires. One of the tires, like I was saying, that one of the tires was fine, but I felt the other one and it felt like it was starting to go bad, and that was this one of them had a Let's see, this one, it might have been, was it this one? Yeah. Yeah, it was this one that looks alright, but it's starting to get kind of getting a sheen on it, and you can feel it's kind of rough. It's not really, doesn't feel like it should, so. However, this one was okay though. This one was fine, but the other one wasn't. And then of course we had those other two belts that we changed that were not in that great a shape, but they did nevertheless work. But they were, you know, they're not dry rotted or cracked, so we'll use these as a emergency belt type of situation. And then these tires will be thrown away because they are no good and they need to be thrown out. So that's what I'm going to do. And basically this thing is working fully. We can turn our put our tape in, sucks it in, play. Takes longer to load because it threads the tape after you hit play. And it's got a good picture. So there we go. It works, and you know, you've got your record level for HiFi, manual or auto. We'll do a test recording on this thing too. Don't know if I'm going to do it on this video, but we'll probably do it on another video. We'll do a test recording and probably get like a record off of a DVD or something. So anyway, this thing is working, and it is a 3-head, but that's about as best as I can get it. But this is going to be it, guys. This is it. This thing is fully, anybody knows where I can get some of these covers, these dust plastic covers, let me know, because I'd like to be able to get a hold of some of these. I bought this pre-recorded movie off eBay, and they gave me one of these nice little cases for it. So I think that's awesome. I've got some beta tapes that I'd like to protect. The artwork, you know, to be able to protect the artwork would be awesome. Anyway, but this machine is completely, fully working, fully operational. Yeah, one more thing, I forgot to show that the counter working, because that was one thing I didn't show, was I didn't show the counter. And so if this is on clock set, the counter will not display. So you have to have it on clock in order for the counter to work. And then you have your timing function.